So welcome everybody to this 30-minute introduction session that we at Competella is going to have today. It's called Empower Your Attendant on the Teams Journey. So for those who are not muted, please do so. All questions should be asked in the chat window. And also, last, we will record this and we will send this recording to you and the other people that actually has requested this session. So beep, Lars. So it seems to be a little slow for me here. So my name is Sofia Svensson and I am a bit of a speaker, but mainly I will be the hostess during this session. I am normally, or I'm working as the communication and marketing manager here at Competella. And with me, we have the main presenter who is Lars Fredstedt. He is head of sales for Western Europe. As said before, questions, send that into the chat function, and also we will send you a follow-up survey after this webinar, so you can tell us what you thought about it. Okay, then beep, Lars, to the next picture. So, agenda. First of all, just for some of you who are new, a bit about Competella, who we are and what we do. And then a short introduction about our solutions. And then the main part, which is going to be the live demo that Lars is going to do. How to handle calls in the Attendant Console solution, how to add keywords, external contacts, etc., etc. Then we will go through a bit of the roadmap and hear something about the smooth onboarding to the Competella Communication Suite for Teams. We will also talk about the benefits of the Competella Attendant Console for Teams. And in the end, we will have a question and answer session. So all the questions that you get during this webinar, just send them in and then we will take them in the end. So now beep. And I'm handing over to Lars.
Yes, so thanks a lot for that, Competella, and a very welcome to all our listeners and viewers today. So who is Competella? Well, Competella is a privately owned company that was founded in Sweden back in 2009. And we have ever since the foundation of the company been focusing on filling in the gaps for contact center and attendant console for Microsoft Unified Communications solutions. 3 years ago, we started creating our solution for Microsoft Teams as a software as a service, cloud-hosted solution. And since March 2020, we have been offering this SaaS solution, which is located in Azure. And that consists of a contact center and attendant console services. We offer other professional services for our customers and also helping our partners. We have in-house support and we offer both end user as well as partner training. Our solutions that are currently undergoing the certification for Microsoft Teams are cloud-based, located in Azure. We have, together with our certification, signed up for a Microsoft Premium Support Agreement, which gives even more security for our customers and partners, since it gives us a good back-to-back if issues should happen with our solution. We go to market through our partners and with them, and through them we have a global outreach. Our customer base consists of approximately 700, and those comprise of almost 680,000 users worldwide. The Competella Communication Suite for Teams consists of 3 main products. And the first one, the Competella Attendant Console, is the one that we are going to do some live demoing on today, and of course do a short presentation and talk about. But basically it's the advanced tool for receptionists handling calls, for instance, to the main number at the headquarters, or for that matter, at branch offices. interviewing the caller, finding out what the purpose of the call is, finding the right skill person or subject matter expert, for that matter, department inside the company or organization, and see their presence, and then do a professional transfer of the call. The Competella Contact Center Work Group is our advanced hunt group solution, and this solution is typically used by Teams customers who would like to go beyond the features and functionalities of the Teams call groups. Features that they would be looking for is, for instance, having good access to both historical statistics as well as real-time statistics, but also the ability to enable both mobile agents as well as agents that are not necessarily Teams users. The Competella Contact Center Enterprise is our flagship contact center. It offers a 360-degree overview for agents. So having a good view of both the queues and the current situation, having a list of all incoming calls, having a good overview on colleague agents and their current status, as well as the customer journey of the caller that they will be handling here and now, plus a good overview of the organization, for instance, subject matter experts. And that, of course, can be even more empowered with CRM integrations for instance, Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics. Just looking on a high level of some of the features and functionalities that our solutions offers as a standard, and if we focus on the Competella Attendant Console, it comes with a lot of functions just with the base license. Some of the features worth mentioning, for instance, and especially for the Nordic countries of Europe, is the mobile presence, ability to show telco mobile status directly in the Competella Attendant Console, and by the way, also soon federate this to the Teams users. Another thing is, I think, primarily Swedish, Norwegian, and maybe even Finnish feature, which is the spoken presence and routing based on, for instance, calendar input for Teams users. So that gives us the ability to route calls based on the calendar input for the individual Teams user. I'll now go over to do some live demo of the Competella Attendant Console. So what you should be able to see now is the Competella agent client, and I'm logged in with my demo user, Olivia Green, and a prerequisite to log in on that is that the Teams client is also logged in, and then basically the Competella agent client piggybacks on the login credentials of the Teams client. So we can see that currently Olivia Green, she is available, and of course she can change her status in the queue. So going into pause mode, for instance, means that she will still be able to follow what's going on in the different queues and actually see the incoming calls. And should she feel for it, she could actually cherry pick calls directly from the queue as well. Olivia Green in this case is a supervisor, so she has the ability also to change status on behalf of other agents in the line. So in this case, I actually forced out that particular agent. So now Olivia Green is logged in again. When Olivia Green, as a receptionist, is dialing out, she can choose to show the phone number of one of the queues that she's doing service on. The squares here in the top shows the queues that Olivia Green in this case is a member of. We can see that there's a 0 and there's a green dot that indicates that the queue is open, and currently we have one agent logged into that particular queue. The 0 on the left-hand side shows that currently there are no calls waiting in line. So a good agent overview. This field that we have here is for the incoming calls. I will show some live calls very soon. I also have the ability to park a call, and of course, a parked caller will obtain the music on hold that has been configured on the queue in the Competella system. I have a field for the incoming call that I'm handling here now, and I have another field for outgoing calls, which I use, for instance, when I do consult transfer to a Teams user or to an external number. And then I have my monitoring list where I can tag Teams users. It could, for instance, be frequent users that I'm doing a transfer to during the day, or departments or similar. The search field, or in this case, the search fields, and you can add more than 2 that I have now. The search and dial, as it says here, provides the fuzzy search. So the fuzzy search is similar to what you know from Google search. The more you write, the more it will basically decrease the number of hits. And of course, we support also that you can do some misspelling. In this case, I just used some abbreviations, but in Bjarne here, my colleague, is called Henriksen, and I just wrote HNE, and still it actually did find him. Especially for larger organizations, it's very important to have the ability to search on specific fields that are in the directory. And by the way, the directory is fed from Azure AD. So here you have the ability to search on specific topics that you have in the database, and of course, that is to decrease the number of hits. And for those who are working for large organizations, you probably know that there's a good possibility that you have several people who has exact the same first name and surname. So therefore, that possibility. Well, that leads me to starting off doing some calls. So I will place 2 calls in the queue, and then they will come in a couple of seconds, I suppose. So here we have 2 calls waiting in line. I could, of course, cherry pick on the calls, but in this case, I answer the call directly by just using the enter button on my numeric keyboard. So right now we can see that I'm speaking to this particular phone number that was calling this particular queue. Furthermore, I actually get information about when did somebody from the Competella tenant that I'm running on with my demo tenant here the last time dial out to that particular phone number, and that was on the 19th of October 2020. But more important was that you, of course, are able to see the inbound calls. So the last time this particular phone number was served for inbound calls was actually by Olivia Green, and it was today at 12:11. And we can actually also see who the call was transferred to. So Max Lemon is currently away from his Teams client, but nevertheless, let's try and see if we can do a direct transfer to him, and I can just do that by clicking this button. So right now, we are trying to reach that particular Teams user, and in the meantime, I can answer another call. So now we have some microphone trouble here. Now we have a new call coming into that came into the queue. We could see that that caller was also coming was handled by Olivia Green today at 1:22, and it was actually also transferred to Max Lemon. In the meantime, the call that I tried to send to Max Lemon, transfer to Max Lemon, is now actually returned to the queue, and we can see that the reason was that it was unanswered. So what I could do with the new caller is to park the call, and that is now parked, and very soon I will receive the original call that was sent to Max Lemon, and I can say, hi, Max Lemon was unfortunately not able to take his phone. Would you like me to take a message? So if that's the case, I can then send an email to Max with a predefined text that automatically injects the phone number of the caller. And by doing that, I've now asked Max actually to dial back to this particular customer. But however, we can now see that Max, he is currently available and also according to his calendar, by the way, from Microsoft Exchange, we can see that he is almost also out of his meeting. So why not? Let's try to see if we can actually get hold of him. So what I do now is to try to send the call to Max. And Max is soon picking up. And now I can present the call for Max and say, hi, I have this particular caller for you, which I, by the way, sent a phone message to call him back. Would you like to speak to him now? And if Max says yes, I just press enter.
Lars, you disappeared now. We cannot hear you.
Whoops, thank you for that. So what I did was to make an announced call for Max. I announced the call. He said that he would like to receive it, and then I actually transferred the call to Max. In the meantime, of course, I had this call waiting, or rather being parked. I am now retrieving this particular call. And again, in this case, it might be that the customer have asked for a person who knows something about, for instance, Teams. So if I look for that, we can see that, funny enough, that Max, he has the Teams skill and keyword connected to him. So if I would like to do a direct transfer to Max, I could do that. But in this case, let's actually try to do another consult transfer where we toggle back to the original caller. So now Max, he is about to answer the call. And I can say, hi, Max, I have this caller for you, would like to speak to him. And then Max says, oh, can you please ask the caller if this and that? I then return to the original caller and say, hi, yeah, I have actually a question from Max. Can you please provide an answer? I get the answer and I return to Max. And as soon as Max picks up again, he will then give me the ability to tell him that here it comes. Oh. Try once more with Max to answer the call. All right, so now we have done a couple of call scenarios. Furthermore, what I would like to show is, of course, also the calendar integration in general. The calendar integration synchronizes calendar items from Microsoft Exchange. And if the receptionist has the rights to do so, then she can actually also add calendar entries into other users' Microsoft Exchange calendar. This can, of course, seen from a security perspective, be completely blocked so that the receptionists are only able to see busy and free times, for instance. Next part of the demo, I will go over to show the Competella administration portal. So what, for instance, if you would like to have some external users in the directory. So where do you add that? Well, I could, of course, have added an external user directly from the Attendant client as well. But in this case, let's try and add the local taxi company with a phone number. So I will do that. just add it a couple of places more, like this. So now we have added a new contact to the directory for the attendant to be able to use. Furthermore, how easy or difficult is it actually to go in and change the welcome message on a queue? And I now use the queue that we have been using so far for the incoming calls. I go into the sound files, and we can see that currently there is already an existing file connected as a welcome message. If I would like to add a new one, I actually just upload a new file, and then I press save as soon as that's done, and then I have a new welcome message available. If, for instance, what's coming up quite soon is, for instance, Easter. So and what you of course would expect of a solution like ours is that you are able to create a schedule for both, of course, for opening hours as well as for holidays. So and what you then do when you create a schedule is you select if it should be a schedule that's only connected to a specific queue, or if it's a global schedule that all queues can select actually to use. And then after that, you choose the time zone that you would like to use for that particular schedule. So now I go back to the schedule, and I go further down, and then what I can do is to start opening my opening hours, and also, of course, my closing hours. So let's say that it opens at 8 and it closes at 5. And by the way, we open from Monday to Friday. So, and in this case, we don't have any lunch break. So now we have actually already a schedule that has opening hours enabled. If I then would like to add a holiday, I go in here, I add a new holiday. I could call it Easter. I select the dates where we want the queue to do something else, or rather the schedule to do something else. So let's say it's on the 15th of April. And then it starts actually already at 8 o'clock. And then the ending dates would be the 19th of April in this case. And the closing hours would be at 1 minute to midnight. So now I've added an exception to the calendar that if I would like the queues to close automatically, and even also play a specific holiday prompt, then I can select it either from the existing database that is connected to the tenant, or I can of course upload a new prompt to the storage and then select it from there, and then we might be able to play some Easter music actually during that. So if I should then go back to the queue, which would be a good starting point, and then what I can do is to select the schedule that I just created. And it now means that now we are going to follow those opening hours, as well as we are going to be able to, of course, play the announcement that has been created together with this exception in the calendar. So quite easy to do that. So what we did in the beginning when we went to the Competella management portal for Teams was that we also created an external contact for it, and if I would like to do an outbound call to that particular phone number, then I can do that. and it will start trying. And as soon as we have the answer, and now I can say, hi, I would like to order a taxi for Competella AB. When will it be here? And after that, now we can hang up, and the customer can then, of course, move on doing something else. Yes. Back to the presentation. We just had the demo of the Attendant Console, and now we move on to the roadmap. So since we launched our solution back in March 2020, we have been busy adding and tuning our SaaS solution for Teams. And as you can see, we added, for instance, callback. We added the possibility to do fast onboarding to our solution. We have been adding recording possibilities, which also works with the Competella Attendant Console. We added CRM integration gateway for Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce, and that is a product that will get even more integrations to ERP and CRM systems, or for that matter, help desk systems in the future. We have added the ability also to do integrations to an external survey provider, so that you can send out a survey after a call to find out how good the service have been, and of course do some statistics on that. And also we are now changing our integration to Microsoft Exchange from a Microsoft Exchange Web Services integration to using the native Graph API, and it's getting to be a even more secure and easier to integrate solution for our customers, as well as we are adding some new possibilities to import from Azure AD that is even more flexible and faster. And then, of course, the mobile presence gateway for the telco operators, I think especially in the Nordic countries, but I know also in Holland, we are currently doing beta testing with customers to get this fully up and running for our cloud. And also, of course, in the very near future, we will add improvements for our real-time wallboard, the quality monitor, so you will be able to see status on an agent level, as well as we will add omni-channel functionalities for inbound contacts. So how easy is it then to get up and running with an integration of the Competella Attendant Console with a customer that has Teams already? Well, it is of course quite easy, also due to that we have made this automated onboarding, but the ability that we do is actually that we use actually apps that are registered inside the end customers Azure tenants, and that's actually what the integration consists of, which speaks to the Competella processes that are located inside Azure, and that actually makes the solution, which makes us, meaning the Competella solution, able to manipulate with the calls inside Microsoft Teams. And a solution like ours is called an extended integrated solution, and one of the advantages of it is that besides from being easy to integrate, that we support both Operator Connect as a PSTN connection, we support Direct Route, as well as we support Microsoft's PSTN connections called Microsoft Calling Plans. And if a customer would like to have a mix of those, we can even support that.
Just for information, Lars, we have 1 minute left. So yes, for everybody who is in the call, we maybe will have 5 more minutes, and maybe it will take a bit longer since we have some questions, so you know that. But if you don't have the time, just to leave the call and we will send it to you, so you know that.
Super. So I will speed up. So some of the benefits with the Competella Attendant Console, as we just spoke out, is how easy it is to onboard and get going. We can queue and handle simultaneous calls and have a good overview of it. You also have a good overview of the other receptionists, callers, and easy search of the people in the organization and see their availability. And with the Competella solution, you can handle and transfer calls. You can do it with the mouse, you can do it with the headset, you can do it with short keys on your keyboard. It's easy to update keywords for instance, subject matter experts. You can add external contacts to the directory, and you can also create and, for instance, change a schedule. We have, of course, now a lot of customers on our SaaS solution. One of our reference customers, International Business College in Denmark, was one of the first customers that onboarded to the Competella SaaS solution. And they came from a legacy system that was complex for the reception to use, but also the IT department spent a lot of time on updates and system administration. And the IT department, together with the management, had a cloud-first strategy. So therefore, they started looking at Microsoft Teams, which did not have an Attendant Console feature. And then, of course, they started looking for a vendor of that has an Attendant Console as a service that is tightly integrated to Microsoft Teams. So the benefits for the customers is that now they have less hands-on work required. They have a simple and intuitive interface. And we, of course, are very happy to have also a close partnership together with International Business College in Denmark. Any further questions?
Yes, let's start. We have some here. Could you create your own keyword database, allowing to search more wide? For example, someone in Russia working with shirts.
Yes. Yes, the keyword database is provided on a tenant basis, and you could say it's blank when we deliver a tenant, and then you add the keywords to the database, and after that you add the keywords to the users or departments who should have them. And of course, we also support keywords that have been synchronized directly from Azure AD.
Good.
Yes.
Next one, when a call returns to the operator, for example, due to no reply, does it come back with a history instead of being a new call?
It does come back with a history. If you had a look of this unanswered call that I actually did handle, it said I think unanswered both in the queue window as well as in the call window when I answered the call. So we could see that the call came back from Max Lemon. We could also see what the Competella Attendant Console was configured to do was actually to immediately show the calendar overview of the current day for that particular colleague in the organization and thereby show presence.
Good.
Yes.
We have several more questions.
Fantastic.
So we'll continue. What if the user declined the call? Will it still go back to switchboard or will it go to mobile voicemail?
Please repeat.
What if the user declined the call? Will it still go back to switchboard or will it go to mobile voicemail?
Yes. That depends on the forwarding settings and settings that you as a Teams user have done on your Teams client. So that's on the individual user basis for the Teams user, as far as I know. Yes.
Okay. Are the skills synchronized with my side on SharePoint, or are they in a database for Competella only?
The skills, being the keywords, are in the Competella database. If you have an external database, then we can of course help you to import that information so that you don't have to build up a complete new skills database from the ground manually. So that of course makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give some general information about pricing, list price, just to get a feeling for it?
That depends on the number of users and so on. So please consult your channel manager, your spokesperson, which we will show after this, and reach out to us, and then we'll be happy to share that information. Yes.
Or actually, we maybe can reach out to this person. That's okay.
Oh yes, of course.
I'm going to tell the sales rep that you wanted this. We have 2 more questions here. If you already have Competella for Skype, will keywords easily sync over to the SaaS solution?
That's probably if the keywords are in the Competella on-prem solution today, they'll need to be exported and mapped over in the SaaS tenant. So there is some manual work that we would be able to help the customer with. Yes.
Okay. Last question now. On your website, you write there is an update path if the customer has an on-premise Competella and on Competella Cloud SaaS. How exactly does this work? Is anywhere right? They wonder if there is some kind of explanation on how to do this thing.
Yeah, again, please reach out to your local Competella representative. So for international, it's me who is the one. I'll be happy to help. And of course, we can also contact that particular person directly. But if I should say something shortly, is that if you are running on a current Competella solution with, of course, with software assurance, we will reimburse your software assurance towards the SaaS subscription fee for the like-for-like licenses. But we will contact you directly after this.
That's good. So I think that was all the questions, quite a lot that we got. So thank you a lot for that. And now the last piece before leaving is actually, we would love if you could fill in this survey that I sent in the chat, so we know what you thought about the webinar and what things you maybe were missing or what took too long, etc. It's always good for us to have this, and me and Lars is always going through all the surveys directly after to see what your thoughts were. So also another thing, we have a contact center introduction webinar on March 24th. Some of you I know have already participated in that one we had in January, but if you're interested, we will send out also the link to enroll to that webinar with the email, including the recording afterwards. By that, I would like to thank you all. Lars, do you have anything to add? Yes, you have. Here
of
are...
course.
Yes, of course, the most important thing.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you are very welcome to reach out to me and my colleagues should you have any questions or topics that you would like to discuss. We are here to help both end customers and partners, or for that matter, consultants that work around this topic. So please get in touch with us, and we will do our very best to help you out.
Yes, and we have 2 questions now that we're gonna contact you about that we had in the chat. So I think, yeah, and then we say thank you and have a nice continued Thursday afternoon, evening then.
Yes, thanks a lot. We wish you a fantastic evening Thursday.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.